So you are ready? Then
yes. Okay. So thanks for coming back from the lunch. I hope you'd enjoyed lunchtime. So I will present you something about Austria and the energy system in Austria. It's more or less my view of the Austrian energy system, to be honest. So who am I? Maybe it's a short words about my person. I'm coming from architecture. I've studied architecture here in Graz University of Technology. Have started to see that this typical way of living in architectural offices is not my way of living, but I wanted to make to increase my knowledge on energy efficiency and started to be an energy consultant, specialized in comprehensive refurbishment. Nowadays I'm more or less a kind of generalist, having different kinds of topics I am specialized on. So the thematic context I'm keen on is residential sector, so I have much knowledge on that, and it's the public sector, and also mobility, which is a very broad range, and some issues also on regulations. And the methods we are working on is applied research, is making campaigns for behavioral changes, and also coaching. The reason why I'm national expert on this task is based more or less on the Graz Energy Agency, on Boris, of course, who is the task manager more or less and on this demand-side management in Austria. And Graz Energy Agency has different kinds of incentives, interventions to increase demand-side management in Austria. One of the models we are applying is contracting and supporting people to increase their energy efficiency via contracting models. Okay, let's have a look on some key facts on energy in Austria. People think that Austria is very forward on behavior, on environmental behavior, but looking on the CO2 emissions, we see that there's a big gap between the targets and the current system. And when we're looking on the primary energy consumption in the last 60 years, we see that the primary energy consumption has increased very much, about 3 times from the beginning of 1950, and that fossil fuels are making more or less than 70% of the total energy amount. Having a look on Austrian households, we see that one main thing is that the consumption of oil for heating has decreased constantly the last 10 years. All the other fossil fuels, energy sources have increased in the meantime. So this is the main thing on that. And concerning energy costs, we see that, of course, energy costs are increasing, but they are not always for all households the same. It's more like to think of people living in rural areas or in small houses because of mobility and also of heating in old houses, which are having an effect on increasing the energy costs. So what is Austria famous for on demand-side management? It's based on energy efficiency in buildings. We have a large tradition on high energy performance in buildings, and also our heating systems have very high energy efficiencies with the usage of renewable energy systems. And also a tradition in Austria are incentives to bring people to invest into energy efficiency in new and in refurbished buildings. Looking on the map of actors in Austria, we have several energy agencies. There's one national energy agency, there are 9 different regional energy agencies which is related to the 9 regions in Austria, and a lot of local energy agencies. Not all of them are shown on this map. And in spite of that, there are also some research institutes and other universities that are linked to energy efficiency in Austria. So what are the initiatives in Austria to promote energy efficiency? There are, of course, one on the federal level and on the regional level, on the local level. One of the federal level is Climate Active, which is the climate protection action of the federal ministry. And each region has its own incentive program to increase energy efficiency or climate protection. Then we have a kind of 2 very important institutions and programs to research on energy efficiency in Austria. The one is the Fund for Climate and Energy Production, which has several initiatives like smart cities or e-mobility or the program to research on energy and also on climate research, which is supported by this program of Climate and Energy Fund in Austria. And the second very important research topic in Austria is provided by the Austrian Research Promotion Agency, which has programs like Cities of Tomorrow or ICT of Tomorrow or Urban E-Mobility or Production Process of Tomorrow, to mention some of those initiatives that are currently running in Austria. But when we want to improve the energy efficiency in Austria, we have to overcome the 3 V's, more or less, V coming from the German words. And we wanted to try to translate them. The first one is, if you want to improve something, people want to hamper you in increasing things to make things better. If they don't manage to do that, they want to delay the improvement of things. And the third thing, if they also not manage to delay the implementation of regulations, for instance, they want to weaken this kind of regulations. So this is more or less the thing we have to overcome if we want to improve energy efficiency in Austria. Maybe it's also the same for your region. Some other barriers, it's concerning to the people, of course. We have the situation that energy is not the core interest of people. There's the lifestyle with own oversized houses in green surroundings. It's wellness and health, to feel comfortable. It's the status of special cars or travels in Austria or around the world. We have, of course, what you also have heard, the user-investor dilemma. And information is available via different channels, of course, via home pages, via campaigns, via events. But nevertheless, people aren't always informed, or they don't know how to act to be more energy efficient. Having a detailed look on CO2 emissions via sectors, we have 2 main problems, more or less. It's the industry and the mobility. Mobility is the factor which increases most in Austria. Maybe it's also the same for the other regions. And the industry has the main share of CO2 emissions in Austria. Discussion currently in Austria is related to smart buildings. Buildings that are more or less very intelligent, very connected, versus buildings that have only low-tech, using not very much technology to be comfortable and to work very fine for the people. And there's the 22-26 concept you see on the right side is a building which has no heating system included and has no ventilation system, but is very, very comfortable. 22 degrees during winter, 26 degrees during summer. It is a concept from architects in Vorarlberg. Currently we have a new act on energy efficiency, which is a federal act. It's more or less a thing that is very is fitting energy utility companies. They have to reduce energy consumption by -0.6% per year. This has to be done for the next 5 years up to 2020. And they have to offer also energy advice for households. Large companies have to make energy audits every 4 years. And the federal public authorities have to act as role model. This is a more or less really very new law in Austria and will have a large impact on energy system in Austria. We think so, at least. The fine thing is that when we ask people, what do you think about the economic energy system in the future? Should it be different to the current system? They say yes. It is necessary to have a different approach on an economic system. More than 3/4 say that it's very necessary. And what I'm thinking about the the task 24 is that what I would like to learn from the experiences of all the people which are involved on national or international level, to get inspirations for the further development, and to have these end practices on the social context, to have a future which is to the children a little bit better than the situation it might be at the moment. Okay, thank you.